Hello there, today we're going to be looking at this, which is the Betafpv 65x. This is a 2S capable, meaning 2 cells, Tinywhoop with brushless motors. This is a fairly beastie little bad boy. I've had this for around about a month. I haven't done an unboxing video, but basically in the box you get this, you get another spare set of props, you get another little spare canopy, and you also get two 300 milliamp hour 1S batteries. Now the way this works is you connect 2 of them and you place them through this little hole here, and then you connect it at this end with these cables. So it will only run off 2S. You can short one of these and you can then effectively run it on 1S. I haven't tested that yet. But it's effectively a double Powerwhoop, for want of a better term. The great thing about this one is it actually comes with a little XM receiver, so it's actually set up to work in the UK, in the EU, so I don't have to mess about with a D8 profile or anything like that, so it's really good from that perspective. Now what I'm really interested to see is how it compares to, first of all, this, which is an Acro B V2 with black motors, so these are brushed black motors. And also how it compares to this, which is my new little thing that I picked up the other week, which is from Unmanned Tech. So this is Unmanned Tech's Crapbox Whoop, or Crap Whoop as it's called. Link up here to explain more about that. But this is, again, based pretty much on Happy Model parts, and it's also a brushless mini quad. So effectively these two are fairly similar, other than the fact this is a 2S and this is 1S. So let's break it down and talk about how this actually performs.
Okay, so this is just flying around my house, apologies for the mess. One of the things to mention to start with, this has a really good camera. The camera on this and the camera position on this is quite good from a perspective of there's no props in view, and the quality is pretty good. So just flying it around the house, one of the things that's really, really important to mention about this thing is an absolute animal. The power is massively obvious. It's very difficult to fly indoors without going too quickly. I mean, there you can do flips and rolls without any real problems at all. The biggest problem I've got here is that the moment you lean forward or nose forward, you're going very quickly. So trying to manage that is not the easiest thing in the world. I would probably like to reduce the camera angle, and that would make it easier, but unfortunately you can't change that. So trying to fly this indoors is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Now, one of the great things here that you can see is I can turn it. It will work really nicely with turtle mode, which is fantastic because it means you have to get up and go and find it. So that's really pretty good. So flying this indoors is a nightmare. It does work, but it's yeah. You're really fighting with the amount of power it's got. So let's take it outside and see how it does. Okay, so back to my usual hunting ground of the rugby club. Great thing about these is you can fly them pretty much around your car without any problems at all. So immediately this felt much more comfortable. I mean, I'm in full air mode, so I'm full acro, and it just handles really well. You can flip, you can roll, you can your turn without any problems at all, and it's just got all the capabilities you could possibly imagine. The power isn't any deficit at this point. It does eat a battery. It works its batteries pretty hard when you take them off. They are very warm, so you can see you can do rolls and flips, and it's just not losing any height at all. There's a bit of a break up there. So one of the things I was trying to do is see what range I could get out of this. So probably between where I am and the rugby place is probably just under 100 meters. Video transmitter's fine. RSSI is sort of mid-range. I was trying to power loop this and just couldn't quite get it right. I haven't got it in the video, but effectively when I was trying to do a power loop at another point, it didn't recover very well. It had sort of a weird wobble, so yeah, I needed to do some tuning. One of the things I have done is adjusted the throttle on this quite a lot because it was very aggressive, and that's made it a lot easier to fly. So I definitely recommend that. So outside it is perfect. It flies really well. So if you've got the space, it's great.
Okay, so what's my thoughts about this? Well, I would say that for just being able to fly outside, and if you've got the space in a sports hall or something like that, or you've got a massive house, this is awesome. I mean, it flies so well. I mean, it feels kind of a bit like a 3S quad back in the day, because you've got all this punch, but it just doesn't recover quite as well. I mean, you can do yaw spins till your days all day long. You can do flips and rolls without any problems at all. Couldn't quite nail a power loop with it, just because it kept hitting its own prop wash and having problems flipping over the top. So it's really good from that perspective. Now for the sort of criticism of it, as I said, it doesn't fly great indoors. If you've got a small space, it's just way too much power for what you want to do. It might be better if you could run it on 1S. I think I would possibly switch that over. There are people who have run these on with XT30s and run one single large battery. I haven't done that, so I can't really comment on it, but it is entirely possible to do. But the other big comment I have on this is the fact that this absolutely annihilates props. I mean, I have gone through at least 3 sets of props, and they just disintegrate. They are absolutely annihilated. They're not usable afterwards. They're just one of the blades comes off, which is a real shame, because I know the newbie drone isn't working anywhere near as hard, but these props have lasted, well, nearly a year, so they work really, really well. And you can't use like for like, because these have got a different shaft diameter than these, so I have to buy a whole new set of props. So that's a bit of a shame. Comparing it to how the Crapwhoop performs, the Crapwhoop hasn't got anywhere near as much power because it's not 2S. But it makes it really nice for flying indoors. I need to do some tuning on this, and the camera needs replacing because it's not great. Nowhere near as good a camera as on this. But it really has, I mean, I think that B2FPV do produce some very good quality things. My points I'd like to have improved on this is I probably would like to have an adjustable camera angle, because that would probably make it easier to fly indoors, because basically by the time you've got to here, this is going about 1,000,000 miles an hour. So yeah, that's probably my biggest criticism of it. I really like it, but there's a few tweaks that it needs to have. I do wonder whether the 1S version, if I had one of those, that I would be really absolutely sold. So overall, if you've got the space, if you've got areas to play with that are larger, sports halls, etc., buy one of these. They're great fun. If you're not, then probably look at one of the 1S versions. So I've got some things coming around that, hopefully after Christmas. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. I found it useful. I will see you all next time.